Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk About House. I'm Todd.
I'm Juana.
Okay, this is an update to the Las Vegas real estate market. We apologize. We haven't put out a video in a week. We've been otherwise entertained. Exciting stuff. We'll tell you about it in the future. Anyway, so we'll just jump into the data, and then what we'll really look at is last 4 months, last 4 years kind of a thing. And then we'll talk about maybe what is going to happen later this year. Okay. So we'll start with all the data, median list price. December 15th, 530. This week it was basically 580, so 50 grand, about the same as it was last week. So we're still in that. It hasn't completely run out of steam, but it's maybe.
It's getting there.
Yeah, this is this normal. This happens every spring. Now there'll be people saying the crash. The realtor decision will crash the market. Watch. Between April and October, I predict home prices will drop. Well, like they do every year, because more homes come on the market.
Right.
I just actually saw a thing on it. It said the best week to list your house was like April 7th to the 14th or something. Did you see that?
Yes, I saw that.
Like first week of April.
Second week of April. Yes.
Second week of April,
Yes.
yeah.
So, but here's the secret that nobody tells you. Zillow comes out with that every year.
Yeah.
Every single year.
And if you're overpriced, it doesn't help you when you list. Because you're now, by the time you get your price to where it needs to be, it's too late. You missed it. So, okay. The next one on here, price per square foot, $258, December 15th, $271. It was the same as last week. Okay, now remember, I don't know about rounding. It could be that they did go up a little. It could be that they're pretty flat. But that's still up substantially. It's $13 a foot. $26,000 appreciation on an average 2,000 square foot house.
That's not bad.
You wouldn't have saved. If you're a renter, you would not have saved $26,000 to put in the stock market. That's the new thing. Don't buy a house. Put it all in the stock market. The stock market will save you.
Well, that's what people do. They bet on the ponies.
Bet on the ponies. Okay. The biggest thing when we go down the list here, inventory. $25.95 in December, and we're $21.62, so we're still like 20% less. But it went up a little. It went up like 30 listings, which is not a ton, but
which is insignificant.
Okay. What that's weird is this median rent. You could see that it was stuck at $2,200 forever. And remember, it's the middle number, so it's looking at every single rent thing. And there's a lot of homes that list on the even hundreds. What surprised me is that this thing jumped up to $2,250 and then $2,290 in like 4 weeks. I don't understand what's going on there. Everything we're seeing with rents are that rents are maybe still going up at a couple percent a year, but not substantially. This shows that rents are starting to go up. I don't know if that's that accurate or not. We'll find out maybe.
Maybe it just is a seasonality thing where people are on the move because people have not been on the move over the holidays. So that it might be a supply and demand thing. Yeah.
Here's the market action index. You can see this goes back all the way to 2019. So it's about the last 5 years of data. The little diamonds are the market action index. This is how hot the market is. Very top of this chart's 100, which is effectively not possible. And then you can see those two humps were the spring of 21 and 2, which were really super hot. They were crazy. And we got back to normal market here back in 2023, and we've just sort of been chilling out now. But we're still kind of on the upswing. Probably will chill out and be back in the 40s, which is, now I don't know why they did this, but 40 is they consider balanced market. So 0 is a full-on buyer's market, which is probably what we had during some of the bank-owned home days when we had thousands of listings. 100 is pure on seller's market, and then 40 is what they consider balanced. But if you look at this chart, except for the fall of 2022, we've been in a pretty much a seller's market the whole time for the last. Yeah. And I would venture to guess it's been pretty much a seller's market for the last decade.
Well, it has, because remember that a lot of that is a factor of supply and demand. So we have had an undersupply of homes, and so because that's not keeping up with demand, then naturally you're going to have a seller's market.
Yeah. So here is the price per square foot. Now, the dots, of course, are the same day over the last 4 years. If you notice, basically, if you go back to where it says about between March 2022 and September 2021, if you just drew a line, that's probably what should have happened with home prices. The little hump there was just the change in interest rates. Right. It was a short-term market reaction to lending rates going from 3% to like over 6% in a few months, and a bunch of people frantically trying to buy houses. That never represented actual home prices. It looks like what happened, according to this, in Vegas, was home prices kind of moderated. They went down in the fall like they did normally, okay, 275 to 250, which is maybe 7 or 8%, more than the normal 3 or 4%, nothing close to the 40, 50% that people said would happen long term. And now they're back up. Home prices are going up. What's amazing, Juan, is we haven't really had below 6% rates. We've had 6 or 7% rates now for a year and a half, and home prices have gone up from 270 or 250 a square foot back up to almost 275.
Right, but again, that's a function of supply and demand, and it's not just in Vegas, it's everywhere. There are just not enough homes for the people that are willing and able to buy. And there are actually a lot more people that would be willing to buy if interest rates were a little more friendly. So even with interest rates being less than optimal, there are still more buyers than sellers. So should interest rates go down, then we'll have even more buyers than sellers. And we're probably going to see a lot buyers having an even harder time than they're having now finding the right home.
Do you think this is going to get harder with less homes on the market, and then potentially, because the plan right now is we're going to still ask for the normal listing amount, whatever we charge, right? And then we're going to tell them we can't put it in the MLS as a co-op, but we'll tell the other agents so that they don't pass it. Like when they call us and say, are you co-oping? Are you going to pay closing costs? And we go, no, their buyer may skip the property. We've actually heard that that's starting to happen, where buyers say, unless they'll pay your commission, I don't want to see the house. So how does that work? With, we have low inventory, and then we have buyers who are saying, I know there's 10 houses that are perfect for me, but I'm only going to look at 6 of them because 4 of them have said they don't want to pay you. So I'm just going to, I can't pay you too.
Right. So I think there's going to be a combination of things. One, obviously, it's going to be the old model where the seller side pays both agents, right? Mm-hmm. And then you're going to have the new model, which there will be some buyers who are willing and able to pay their agent. I think those will probably be very few, to be honest with you. And then you're going to have everybody else in the middle, which is, hey, we'll go ahead and get that negotiated in the offer. So it's going to be, okay, Mr. Seller, you're asking for this many bananas. You can have this many bananas, and I need you to also pay closing costs for the buyer, which, by the way, includes my fee for representing the buyer.
One of the funny things that people are like, oh, but Todd, homes will be cheaper because since the seller doesn't have to pay the agent, he'll discount the house. Okay, but if he's discounting the house by exactly as much as the buyer's agent's getting paid, and then you're paying the buyer agent, yeah, the closing price is different, but that's like saying instead of paying $500 for the house, you paid $490, but then you paid $10,000 to your agent. You still paid $500, right? It's kind of the only restriction is it can't be advertised in an MLS. That doesn't mean you can't call the agent and say, hey, are you splitting, how much commission did you ask for? And are you splitting it with the buyer? Because what agents are telling me is, I'm going to still explain how it works and say, this is what we'll offer. And then, that way they know because the sellers, what I'm hearing is, I don't want anyone to miss out on my house. Like, right. I don't want to skip that buyer because they were the one that would have bought the house, but then they passed because of some stupid thing.
Right. So yeah, you're going to have all kinds of different situations. Either the seller is going to get their list price and then pay both agents, or the seller will say, okay, well, I'll pay your agent, but you're going to have to pay me list price plus. Now that's going to be something that's going to get worked in there. How appraisers will treat this is going to be interesting to watch. I think the whole thing is just evolving. I think we will have lenders possibly be able to work with that at some point. Right now they can't, but I think that as this situation evolves, those lending programs will change and lenders will allow for that.
Here's the inventory chart. We were just talking about inventory. You can see it sort of, I think the downward trend of inventory going away has stopped. But if you look back at 21 and 2, those were artificially low. Those were the lowest numbers we've ever seen. And even last year at this time, we had more inventory. So you really have to go back. I wish this chart went back like 10 years so you could see we normally have, 4,000 or 5,000 houses on the market. it's been exceptionally few homes on the market this time of the year in a normal market, but nothing like we're seeing now. I just think this, you call it the lock-in effect. I don't see us getting back to 15,000 homes in the MLS. Not when we have 2,000 in Vegas, and that's it. The rest of the MLS isn't big enough to. We'd need 15,000 to have a normal balanced market.
Right. So that's not going to happen anytime soon.
No.
So that's kind of clear. I think what's going to be interesting is lenders, I think, are going to be much more willing to roll the agent compensation into the loan at certain loan programs. So let me give you an example. If you're putting 30% down, the lender might be willing to say, okay, yeah, you can roll that into the loan because it's 3% and you're putting 30% down. We have enough of a cushion. But if you're an FHA buyer putting 3.5% down, no, you can't roll your agent's compensation into the loan because you don't have enough equity in there. So I think that's what you're going to see. I think you're going to see lenders doing that. The first thing that's going to have to happen is the secondary markets are going to have to agree to that, right? Because all these loans are sold on the secondary market. So the secondary market's going to have to make adjustments for that, which at the end of the day, it means a government adjustment because who are the biggest buyers, right? They're the governmental entities, the quasi ones and the real ones.
Fannie, Freddie.
Right.
Okay, that's an interesting point. Before we show this last slide, let's talk about that really quick. There's been this sort of, hey, buyer agents will just have to all go out of business and yada, yada. Well, but remember this, Juana, where do lenders traditionally get almost all their business from?
From real estate agents.
And if the real estate agent calls and says, hey, Bob, this is Todd. I got a client, he's buying $500,000 house, and here's the deal. He found a house, seller's not paying a commission, and the buyer really can't afford. Is there a way we can wrap it up in the loan? So give me no, you can't do that.
So, the lender's going to say no if it's an affordability issue.
Okay, forget that. Just say no. This loan program doesn't do it.
Right, okay.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to call Mike and see if Mike can do it. I hate to do that. But I'm going to call Mike now. So I'm going to call Mike, and I'm going to go, Mike, I just called Bob. Bob said he can't do this. This deal's yours. I got to get paid, though, right? So I'm deciding if you're going to get this loan, but I got to find a way to roll this is closing costs in the loan. Todd, I got a great deal for you. There's this lender who's rolling closing costs in the loan, and then they disclose it all with the HUD when they package it and sell it, and they make a little less on the back end, but they're still doing that because they want to do look, the lenders want to do deals. The secondary market has to buy things. They're not going to let this thing dry up. It's been easy for them, but some of the burden on this is not going to be on real estate agents, okay? Actually, very little of it, I think, is going to be on agents. I think what's going to happen is the sellers are going to go back and have some of the share of this, and then buyers are going to have some of the share of this, and then lenders and others are going to have some of the share of this. And there may be some agents who, over time, take a share of this. We all share in any economic change, but it's the way the deal was done. You're not just going to have, you just don't get paid. You have to work for free or for $500 and hunky dory. It's not going to work that way.
No, it's not. And the thing to keep in mind is that housing is such a huge segment of the U.S. economy that the government will get involved and will make things happen regarding the loans because they're not going to want to have the economy stall over this.
Right. Yeah. Or home buyers complaining, I can't buy now that you're making me pay the commissions.
Right.
DOJ. Oh, shoot. We forgot about that. Okay. Now, this is market segments. This is the top quarter, second, third, and fourth quarter of the market. I saw another one that only had high rises, condos, and there were only below 250, only 8 in the whole city, the whole MLS below 250. So when I see this 385 number, I realize that's the bottom quarter of houses, but I'm shocked that there's that many, honestly. 494 is the next one. Also in that bottom, there were 144 new and 120 absorbed. This is the first week we've seen more new listings than ones that were absorbed. And then it's pretty much in the second quarter of the market, there were 79 new and 78 absorbed. And then 1.3 million, which is the top quarter of the market, 69 new, 40 absorbed. But Juana, you know this more than anybody. there are a lot of deals that aren't counted in this because they don't go through an MLS.
Well, and there are going to be a lot more still because you're going to have the sellers who are going to say, hey, I'll pay you, but I won't pay anything on the buy side. So those deals will be done in-house.
Right. Yeah, they won't work with outside agents on
Yeah.
that. Okay, let's talk about next few months, what the end of the year looks like. Are we likely to get more inventory in the fall?
Mm-hmm.
And if we do get 3 Fed rate cuts, do we get rates down to the low 6s?
I know that's what everybody wants. I'm less than convinced. And I'm really hoping that the Fed doesn't play politics. I really am hoping. I don't think the economy has inflation under control sufficiently to lower rates. However, it may be that the economy starts to stall and then the Fed has to kind of pick a favorite child. Does the Fed say, hey, the economy moving forward is more important than keeping inflation under check? Or does the Fed say, hey, you know what, inflation is still our number one priority, so we're not budging on those rate cuts? Because of the election in the fall, I think the Fed will budge, and that's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate for all of us.
I think they're going to.
Because inflation is a thief that robs all of us.
Yeah, I think they're going to say they're maybe happy with the people running the show for whatever reason. And this isn't left versus right. This is these people have been in government in different branches of the government for a long time. They perceive that the old new guy who might come back could shake things up a little more, a little more volatile, a little less caring about what other people are concerned with. He's just going to come in and try to clean house a little bit. And
self-preservation on their part.
Self-preservation on their part. They're like, hey, and this is just the reality. Like people, if you picked a political party, I don't care which one, and say, we're just going to let you pick the president. You guys know who they would pick, right? Mm-hmm. And then if you said, okay, we're not going to let you pick, but we're going to let you set policy that helps either the old guy, you make the economy a little bit worse, people get more pissed off and they're more likely to want to swap governments, or you make them happy. You say, hey, things are going great, everything's going really good, just kind of take a deep breath and then keep the current kind of guy. That's really what happens. That's a problem with election years. There's a little less, there is that political consideration put in.
There is. I mean, there's political consideration at all times, but much more so during an election year.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything else?
No, we'll do another one in the beginning of April.
Okay.
And I think it'll be fun. The next 4 or 5 we do, hopefully we'll either see the market continue to go up or start to crest or whatever. And then here's my prediction.
Okay.
Now, I made this prediction in 2022, and I got laughed at. But the best time, I said in the spring of 2022, 2 years ago, the best time to be a house is going to be October, November, December, January. One of those 4 months. There'll be a lot of homes on the market. There'll be some softness, and you may be able to pick something off, a good deal. I'm predicting this year that even if interest rates drop a bit, in the fall, I still think, because we're going to have more inventory, that October, November, December, January are going to be the best 4 months to maybe pick up a rental or buy that primary residence or whatever. Okay. That's my prediction.
There you go.
Versus for Vegas, maybe the rest of the country. But in this market.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. If you missed us, like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share the video, and tell us in the comments that you missed us. If you have real estate related comments, we really love those.
Yeah.
So please leave us your real estate related comments and like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share the video. We'll see you on the next video. Bye.
Bye.